Happy Monday, Kelly in Vegas or Kelly at Heinz Field. Are you going to the game?
Yeah, no, not tonight. Next Sunday, I'll be there. And it was crazy because I checked the weather report and it looks like I'm going to freeze my ass off, Megan.
Well, apparently, Brandon Walker, all he thinks you own is denim cutoffs anyway. So
well, pretty much do. And that's actually what Marco, the birthday boy, said. He goes, well, maybe if you don't wear jeans with holes in them. I'm like, that's all I have. So somebody's going to have to go buy me a winter coat. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do.
I have an idea. Take a pair of fleeced line tights, put them underneath the jeans so it actually looks like you still have skin, but you're still warm and you still have your hole. I'm a problem solver here.
Megan's like a fashionista, you guys. Like, I finally got my pin hoodie in, and it looks like it's like from the green screen, it's all felt covered and soft and smooth, but it's not. But now we're going to make new pin hoodies. So here we are.
Here we are. We don't need just the green. Kelly, what do you want to talk about first? How bad my week was, or do you want to just like skip that, or like how should we talk about just how good you are? Let's do that.
No, let's not talk about, because I didn't have a great weekend. I had a good weekend. I made money. Any weekend you make money is a good weekend. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. There was a few other dogs that were barking that I did not put money on the money line. These are the type of weekends I need to capitalize, and just kind of frustrated with myself. Illinois being one of them on Saturday, and the Titans being one of them last night. I had the Rams in a teaser, so I'm a little back and forth. I don't want to be negative though, but I do want to talk about your weekend, because before we started, you mentioned, like basically how insane it was. And I said, Megan, for what you did, it's just as hard statistically, mathematically speaking, it is just as hard to do what you did, but in reverse. And so we got to talk about it. We got to figure out what I think when people have bad weekends, what went wrong, right? Where did you go wrong and how can you improve on it? And that's something that I try to preach. And I'm trying to do it myself. Now, full disclosure, I'm almost 9 years older than Megan, I think. So me 9 years ago, I didn't know any of this shit. I was taking notes from all the guys that I'm friends with and just trying to like be a complete and utter sponge. So I don't want to come off like some pompous asshole. Like, I'm literally 9 years older than Megan and have done this for a really long time. What Megan has built in the last couple of years has just blown me out of the fucking water. So I want to say that much and preface it that 0-12, you need to like make yourself like a fucking you did it poster, right? Like with SpongeBob, because holy fuck, that is so hard to do.
Yeah, that was definitely not the best weekend. Thankful for some live betting. Thankful for having someone other than myself also betting in this house to save our Barstool Sportsbook account. But it was one of those weekends where I could have looked at the weather and it said that it was going to be 100% sunny, and then I step outside and it's pouring down rain. And honestly, what I think I did as far as what went wrong, you've said it multiple times on the show. We've said it as a joke, but literally think long, think wrong. And that's what I did. I sat there, and I had Illinois down. I had Illinois down. I don't think Wake ended up covering. I had a couple down for especially college. Like, I would have had a decent college day if I just would have like shot from the hip, went with my gut, went with just like my knowledge of the sport. But instead, I went in, I looked at narratives, I looked at things that I thought, for example, like you nailed the sandwich spot with Baylor. I honestly thought that Baylor really needed that game in order to play a solid game, a confident game against Oklahoma. And we may see that maybe Baylor doesn't play as well this week against Oklahoma because they weren't rolling. I don't know. But I personally think I overthought everything this weekend. I questioned every pick on my card. And I feel like if you question picks on your card, you just shouldn't put them out. I feel like if you're questioning yourself, if you're going back and forth, if you're not ready to lock your pick in, just don't do it. Be more responsible than I was this weekend, because as I said, I had a lot of bets. I thought really hard about them. I locked them in, and hindsight's 2020, obviously. But I could have thought a little less and turned out a little better. But this is betting. It can happen to all of us. It happens to the best of us. Have you ever had a day like that, Kelly? I mean, you have, as you said, you've been doing this for quite a while. We've started this whole show out with this is money shots. We're literally taking shots with our money. You're the Vegas girl. That's where you started. I am the Louisiana girl who's still literally learning day by day. And, as you said, I have done all of this Twitter shit within the last 2 years, but I think that comes with a lot of my jokes and not really my bets.
Well, I think that that's kind of what you are. I think you're a betting personality. And I think that that's why Barstool loved you and brought you on. I think that that is something, trust me, like I have guy friends that literally think you have writers. They're like, who writes this shit for her? I'm like, her and her husband write it. They're like, no way. And I try to be funny. And when I try to be funny, you know what? Half the people on my timeline are like, you're a bitch. You're not funny. Or they think I'm hilarious. So I should say it's 33, 33, and 33%. But it's like, I swing and miss all the time. And then other times, like where like I'm like, okay, this is fucking hilarious. I get like one comment. Like this guy goes, this is a very underrated tweet. Like when I pissed everybody off, when I pissed off half the population with the pizzas on Saturday, I tweeted, like I wanted to tweet for my next trick, I'm going to buy an Aaron Rodgers jersey to see how many other people I could piss off. Funny. And, I had a guy who was like, that's a very underrated tweet. And then, I had people text me like, it wasn't really that funny. I'm like, well, you know what? You can do it. You can do it. And Megan is fucking hilarious. And she is very witty and says some great shit. Now,
sometimes.
Listen, how do I say this? I'm having an epic year. And this was something that I had talked about with a colleague over the summer, that this was going to be the year of the underdog. And Megan, what we saw last year was the exact opposite. I actually went 52.8% last year. I looked it up because I had some guy who was like, oh, she was 40% last year. Well, that's a fucking exaggeration. So everybody calm down. But I was 52.8% last year in college football because the dogs were not barking. Why were the dogs not barking? There weren't half of the stadiums were empty, right? There was no home field advantage for some of these underdogs. And yes, I do pick road dogs, but typically I'm looking for those TCUs in the $2 range or so to pull those kind of upsets.
Right.
And that's because that place was rocking. Look, they got a little rejuvenated because Gary Patterson got fired. I'm not saying Jerry Kill is going to be some great head coach as an interim. He's probably not even going to get the head coaching job there. That being said, it was more of a sandwich spot against Baylor and the fact that TCU got the opportunity to play spoiler, right? And I think that these are the type of things that I'm looking for each year. And I think that's why last year was so bad and this year is so good. I don't think it's that I'm doing anything different. At the end of the day, the math's still the math, but those little situational spots that you can find. You could have made the same case with UTEP, and guess what? They fell flat on their face at home against a really good UTSA squad. I mean, it is what it is. I think that what we kind of want to do, again, is not overreact to too much of what's going on, but it's really hard for me not to try to find these bigger underdogs this year because they have been barking. And then finally, I had so many crappy weeks in NFL, Megan, like 3 in a row. And I was just like, this sucks. And I was really killing what I had started out to be a really good season. And then days like yesterday happened. And you know what I did? I only played 3 games. I had 5 on my card because I'm in a pick 5 league on Office Football Pool. I went 4-1. So how bad am I kicking myself for not playing a couple of those other dogs? How bad am I kicking myself for not having $1 on Broncos money line? Like those type of things.
Broncos fan.
It is. And you know what? Just like I've always said about Kansas State, I'm 3 times as hard on the Broncos. They frustrate the hell out of me outside of the Peyton Manning Super Bowl. They drive me absolutely bonkers. Between Vance Joseph and Vic Fangio, I'm not sure who I want to punch in the face more because they make such dumb mistakes. That being said, they played their asses off yesterday in a Cowboys team that was probably a little bit overinflated after, being able to get Dak back. Maybe he wasn't 100%. So we're going to get into this week. Sorry, enough of my grandstanding, but I do think it's something to really take into consideration. The ebbs and the flows of sports gambling is going to happen. And that's what the goal is to be able to beat it long term. You got to be able to overcome that 10% big. And that's really, really, really hard to do. So next weekend when you go 0-12, you can say, okay, here's my balance out and tell everybody to kiss your ass.
12-0. You mean?
Sorry. Yes. Sorry, you went. Oh no, I don't. Oh, and she goes 0-12 again this week. That's totally my fault. 12.
You heard what I said pre-show that Jack said I couldn't say on show. So don't make me think about that term.
I can't believe you're being censored at Barstool Sports. I just say whatever I want now. I love working at Barstool. I have never felt more rejuvenated in my life. I just gonna say whatever I want, and it feels awesome.
So getting into this week, we talked a little bit about our college football recap. I know you didn't end up hitting your parlay due to UTSA. And I was like, this seems like a gift, 11.5 at home. Guess what? I was wrong about that too. I mean, literally everything, every thought that I had last week was wrong. And it's okay. It's okay. Maybe I needed a weekend to turn off the TV and just be with my kids and just like enjoy the moment. Maybe that was karma just coming back at me. But I did take the Giants live.
Nice.
Took Patriots live. And
Okay.
hedged out of the Bengals live because I felt, I don't know why I thought that Joe Burrow was going to go out there and be able to. I mean, not, it's not Joe Burrow's fault. It's actually I've seen this Baker Mayfield cycle, like this meme where it's like,
Oh yeah.
Baker plays like shit. Everyone talks shit about Baker. Baker gets mad. Baker has a comeback game. Baker's MVP, and then the cycle, whatever. This was MVP Baker. This was fuck you, Odell. Fuck everybody that's talking shit about me. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna.
Well, and the Browns as a divisional underdog are completely
Right.
different as the Browns as a divisional favorite. That's just what it is. And I'm kicking myself for not even being on the Falcons. Yesterday, I looked at the Saints early.
Which
I got
said
bet
was
all the
gonna
way
be
up.
A weird game, did I not? I was like, every
You
time
did.
I watch this game,
Every time those two teams play, it always ends up being fluky. Saints had the opportunity to still win it, then give up a huge bomb, and I'm like, OMG. So it was like one of those crazy games. I'm really glad I didn't get involved, even though early on I liked the Saints and later on I liked the Falcons, because it would have just been really stressful. Yesterday was nice because it wasn't very stressful. Broncos rocking chair winner, Browns rocking chair winner. And you know what? Carolina was dead in the water after the first quarter. I think it was right after Darnold threw either his first pick or his pick six. I can't remember which order it came in because I was back and forth. And I was like, all right, cool. I lost this game. I no longer care. And I feel like it sounds crazy, but that's how I'd rather have my games be. Like these on the edge of your seat stress you out. Like that's how come I have to go get more Botox this week, because like I need to be able to not be like wanting to jump off a cliff in the middle of the fourth quarter. Like every single week, it seems like that. So it was really nice this week not to have to deal with that.
So I text my friend this morning, and she's a friend that I definitely need to like keep in contact with. And so I hadn't texted her since Saturday afternoon. And I was like, don't know how I missed this. I was probably pouting all weekend, which is extremely accurate. Also, that Ravens game, the fact that the Ravens defense blew.
Wow.
That was the only game that like I really honestly thought Sunday. I was like, all right, I'll go 2-2. I'll hit my teaser for sure. Matt Stafford's gonna take care of business tonight because look, the Chiefs won. I'm pretty sure, did they even cover yesterday? I think the Chiefs. No, they didn't. I was like, did they even cover? Wow. But I didn't watch much of that game. I just watched to see the results. As I said, after that 12 o'clock hour. Well, not even the 12. About 25 minutes into the 12 o'clock hour, I kind of knew that. Well, and I had deja vu yesterday, and it was like the deja vu was like, you're gonna get fucked, and I did. So yay. Cannot believe the line movement on that 49ers game with the Cardinals and Colt McCoy.
You got yourself a nice, I'm going to put right up behind you on your nightstand, a nice like trophy that says you did it. Megan, that was rough. As I mentioned, I teased both sides of those games, and I couldn't give it out because it had already moved too far. Glad to get the Cardinals in a teaser, but
thank God my husband took them earlier in the week, as I told you, before he knew that Kyler was going to play or not going to play. And then he was like, I'm going to go ahead and hedge. And I was like, no, I already have plenty on the 49ers
right
on the money line. Like, just don't do it. You have a good number there. Like, just keep it. And thank God he did and didn't hedge out because.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, they were missing a ton of guys. And this is something we talk about all the time. It's best not to overreact, right? You don't want to overreact to a backup quarterback, especially a journeyman like Colt McCoy.
Jordan Love yesterday absolutely kicked out.
But I couldn't believe how dominant they were without one of their best defensive players, one of their best wide receivers, one of their running backs went down. I was kind of floored. I was flipping back and forth with that game. But, my best friend Chris had 49ers with you. And it was kind of like the Carolina game for me. He was just like, screw it. Like, it's over. Yeah. I had Kittle in my fantasy league. So I was like, can I just get some garbage points with Kittle? So that was kind of nice. Helped me save some face. But that game was probably the craziest final score. I know the Browns game, the Broncos game were equally as crazy, but from a line move perspective, like I tweeted about the Eagles line move, and the Eagles had a shot to win that game. Chargers did what they do best and, win in the fourth quarter. Eagles do what they do best and quit in the fourth quarter. But man, that Cardinals, I mean, there was a point where I flipped back and forth and I was like, are the Cardinals up 3 scores?
Yeah, I literally get like every time Like I was like, whether it was on my score app or I would like come in from outside from playing just to like check on the scores, it was like a dagger to my stomach. Like it didn't matter what was happening. I had to just give the day. I just had to give the universe the day yesterday. Like I felt like a sacrificial lamb. And if that's what the betting gods needed for all of us to cash some tickets, I will bear the blood that everyone needs. And again, Titans and Rams, Jesus Christ. Like I asked you how many points you thought Derrick Henry was worth. And I mean, obviously he didn't play last week and we talked about that, but I was not expecting this final score. And I even like laughed and I was like, watch the Titans since all the dogs are hitting. I was like, watch the Titans win outright to my husband. And I woke up middle of the night, checked my phone. I'm like wanted to.
Yeah, that game was crazy, Megan. And I had Yellowstone, Succession, Dexter, but I just couldn't turn it off. I had Rams in a teaser from Tuesday. And then when it hit 7.5, my buddy Ski called me. He goes, Cal, what do you think? We both have Rams in a teaser.
Shout out Ski Profit.
Yeah, Ski. Should we hedge, right? Because it's not really a hedge. You're just hoping for more of a middle, if you will. And I go, yeah, I think at 7.5, we have to. Dogs have been barking today. And, I was glad that I got off of it because I had heard some rumors earlier in the week that Stafford wasn't 100%. He was having back spasms or some sort of back pain. And that's why I think we saw some money come in on the Titans. And then the public money came back in on the Rams, bet it back up to 7.5. So I was happy to have gotten off of that teaser, if you will. But man, it's crazy how dominant they were. And I know a couple weeks ago, everybody was ready to give the Rams the Lombardi trophy. Now we're starting to see things really start to open back up, right?
I clarified that was a joke on.
Wow, Megan, we know these guys don't understand jokes on the internet. We haven't been over this yet. I literally said thoughts and prayers about me freezing my ass off. And some guys like, shouldn't we save those for more important things like world hunger? Yeah, bro, we should. It was a joke. Like,
what? Peace.
You think I really meant that? No, I'm just laughing.
Which, how many kids do you think you fed this weekend? I want to go ahead. Like, people can say all they want about whatever, but I mean, the fact that you bought over it would look like over 50 pizzas at least to go.
I think there were 64 in total. I didn't fully count them. I did keep a couple for myself because I'd been wanting to try one bite pizza. But there is a youth shelter over by my mom's, and I had told her kind of what was going on, and I said, hey, what do you think? You want to run by Walmart? Because she knew I didn't want to. And she had already went and got her own. And she was like, well, let me make some phone calls. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, maybe we can drop them off at like an EMT place or like a homeless shelter or something. And I'm like, it's hard because like people need non-perishable things. Yeah. And so we called this youth shelter over by her house, and they're like, actually, we have a huge commercial freezer that we share with a group home. That would be amazing. And so it was awesome because I was able to donate almost all of them. And that's why I bought so many. Because of course I was just going to go do my part and buy enough to fit in my freezer, maybe give some to a couple friends here and there. But when I figured that out, I was just like, how many are here? There was like 4 shelves full. So I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to buy them all. And when I was like, I feel like we should leave some for other people. I'm like, I feel like we shouldn't. They can go to another Walmart.
Or they can just reorder and get the next batch when it comes in.
And I'm sure there's a bunch in the back. I mean, so come on, Walmart's huge. They have to have like some sort of back stock. But anyway, it was really funny because a lot of people are like, there's no way she hasn't been to a Walmart. I'm like, I've lived in Vegas for 14 and a half years, and I have not set foot into a Walmart since I've lived in the state of Nevada. I can promise you that.
Even like, I don't know where you were at in Las Vegas, but I'm like just trying to think of like where a Walmart would even be.
Well, actually, I'm in Florida right now because my parents are here. Gonna spend some time down here, do some stuff with them. So it was pretty funny because they wouldn't have to. Yeah, Steven's jumping in the chat saying his Walmart sold out. The last time I saw them in Vegas at a Walmart, well, let me rephrase that. The last time I was sent a picture of where they were in Vegas at a Walmart was the Spring Valley one, and that was from Patrick, who used to be my intern at the Kelly and Murray show, and he was able to go pick some up. I don't know. I had a lot of people tell me that their places were sold out.
That's why y'all need to just listen to Kelly's gambling advice and not mine. The fact that this bitch had an intern. Don't listen to me, okay? So I'm here.
Wait, Megan, I just want to clarify. Patrick was not like a gambling intern. Like he
doesn't matter. If you have an intern, you're a bad bitch, and people should listen to you. So intern equals internally listen to Kelly. That's what it is. It is what it is. And sorry to interrupt you again, but Patrick should thank you for that shout out. So
Patrick's good. I'm really proud of him. He got a job at one of the big sports books in town, and he's a junior trader, which is huge. I mean, the kid's a genius. He has a freaking MBA, and he was working as an accountant. It was like,
Patrick, let's go.
Yeah, he's super smart. I mean, not very much common sense. Shout out to Patrick. I can't get him to do basic tasks, but hey, you know what? He's really great at all things sports betting related. It's really funny because when I did Erica's Token CEO podcast, I used him as an example of degenerate gamblers and what not to do. And he texted me, he's like, "Was that about me?" And I was like, "Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry. I love you, but you're a dumb shit."
Look, a lot of lovable people are dumb as fuck. It's just part of the appeal. We're like golden retrievers. Speaking of golden retrievers and getting balls, I guess that's a segue into tonight's game.
Getting balls.
So Kelly, before again, whenever I text you beginning of the week, before I gave my Niners play, which is usually Tuesday or Wednesday, who did I text you about saying, I'm thinking about taking this team on the money line?
Yeah, you told me about the Bears.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen to the Bears tonight?
This is a tough spot, okay? So obviously Mike Tomlin's never beat this Bears team, but this Bears team is in just shambles, right? We know they haven't covered, but what, 3 of their last 10 games? Yeah. This has just been a rough stretch for this team that seems to do okay. They have some moments of greatness. But look, this is tough. I think they put, and this is not fair, but I think that they really put this kid in a bad position. I understand that at some point in time, you have to go ahead and become the starter. But I think Matt Nagy, for lack of better words, was really bullied in to making a quarterback change. And I think it's really hard. And I've said this on the show before. I think it's important to be behind other quarterbacks. Now we can make that argument with Jordan Love last night, who has spent a year and a half behind Aaron Rodgers and did not look great.
But he didn't look awful. It wasn't.
Whoa, come on. Did you see Dave's tweets? The kid, he's right. The kid couldn't throw a spiral half the time. But all they really needed to do was continue to run the ball. And had they ran the ball and Mason Crosby kicked a couple of those field goals because the laces were faced in the correct direction, I mean, it would have been a 14-13 game in theory, right?
In theory. Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes those type of moments are, you know, what keep you from covering or not covering. But look, hey, they got the backdoor cover. He was able to throw a touchdown pass, if you will. Matt Nagy, it's tough. I do think the Steelers should be able to run the ball against Chicago. This is not going to be, like, if Chicago is going to win this game, Megan, it's going to be because Pittsburgh runs the ball, which they should be able to. They slow down the clock, and Chicago basically does the same. Chicago cannot win this game in a shootout, right? That's just not going to happen.
I could see like a 14-17, just like very.
Yes, like a terrible 14-10, 17-14. Look, the defense for Chicago is going to have to play better. When the Chicago Bears have allowed less than 17 points, guess what they do? They win football games. What a concept. So that being said, I'm not laying the 7 with the Steelers. I think the under is the play, but I'm not sure.
40 right now at the Barstool Sportsbook, correct?
Yeah, it's low, right?
But yeah, you can't expect anyone to go off with a total sitting at 40.
Right. I do think, I know a lot of people that have Pittsburgh in their survivor pools tonight. I do think Pittsburgh should win this game. Would it surprise me to see the Bears go in there and win? Not after this weekend, it wouldn't. But I don't think I want to get
after this weekend. Nothing.
I don't think I want to get involved here. James said the Steelers' offense is trash. No, I know that they're trash. This is not going to be a shootout. That's getting to my long point, and that is I like the under tonight. I think it's low for a reason. Don't tease it. Don't do anything crazy like that. I do think that
if you were to move the stool in a parlay plus, because maybe someone on the other side of the screen did that to have a play for tonight.
I gotta work on how to do that, because I will be in a Barstool Sportsbook state next weekend, so I will be able to bet on the Barstool.
You have to put out Parlay Plus when you're
and maybe I'll get drunk and do a Parlay Plus just for Megan for the game just to have something, because it is, listen, it is great. You are the availability that you have to be able to bet this team and these games and be able to, if you will, what is it? My brain is fried for a second, Megan. I'm doing a you. Where you have the ability to move it and you be able to do correlated parlays is huge. So let me see. Customize your parlay. Here we go.
That's what I did. And right now, because I couldn't decide on the side really, I have Big Ben under 250 yards. Again, we're thinking the total is going to be under 40. So this is what as far as correlation goes. I have Fields over 38.5 rushing yards. I feel like he's going to have to run for his fucking life.
Probably.
That I feel like that's just kind of a given with him as a starter. I have under 47.5, so I gave myself a little breathing room by moving the stool, and then I had the Bears plus 14.5, right? So if the total is sitting at 20, the Bears can't lose by 14.5 with this and go under the total or even hit the total, like unless the Steelers are just fucking blowing them out of the water, right? Like, this is considered, for me, I've correlated this parlay with the total.
Yeah, and I'm with you. So there's a lot of key numbers, right, that we talk about on a consistent basis. So I was trying to figure out how to do the parlay plus thing on your end, because I'm definitely going to do one for the game that I'm at, because I'm not going to have a big opinion on it, and I think it'll make it a lot more enjoyable. So it's correlated,
really they are really fun. Like whenever you don't have a side like me tonight, like originally I was leaning the Bears, but at the moment I'm sitting at like a confidence level of like a solid, like, I don't know, Missouri 2. But like I'm gonna hopefully win this parlay and I'll get back up there.
I'm loving that Missouri 2. That is fucking hilarious, because I used to have people tell me in Vegas that I was like, my problem in life was that I was a Kansas 9 and a Vegas 6, and I used to roll. They're like, that's your whole problem. You grew up in Kansas, so you think you're hot shit. And in fact, it's hard. They have to grade on a curve. It's Kansas.
I did see that you got a farm permit, which I was like, farm?
Well, that's why I was laughing at Brandon Walker talking about being excited to see a goddamn deer. I almost told him myself, but I'll tell you the story off camera, because my dog has to eat deer. So, like, that's all she can eat. Anyway.
I'm assuming that Brett takes care of that for you.
No.
No? His picture seems like he could maybe do it.
He can, but we'll see. Anyway, luckily for me, my dad has lots of deer on his property. But all jokes aside, yes, I did get a farm permit when I was 14 years old so that I could, drive tractors and shit. So the big thing to think about tonight on the Parlay Plus is that we have some key numbers. If you're going to move that bar stool, you want to move it below the key number of 3, because we know that key number of 3 is how often the game lands on 3 is the highest percentage other than greater than 2 touchdowns. The other key number in totals is 41, 45. There's a couple other, 42 is kind of one of them. It just kind of depends. I actually need to get a new breakdown of this year and where things are going to end. But the key number of 41 and 45 are the most important. So if you were to, I would move it over 45 and I would move it under 2.5. And then, as Megan alluded to, add a couple of those prop bets that you like as well, and see if you can't get a nice little plus money parlay plus going over at the Barstool Sportsbook.
If you start hitting those, I'm just going to hit you in the face. I don't know what else.
I'm really excited because I've only been in a Barstool State 3 times during football season this year. So I've been to Michigan a couple of times, Pennsylvania, and then Illinois. So I'm really excited. I land on Saturday morning. So before kick, I'm hoping to get a couple of really fun ones. Just to make it a little more entertaining. Again, they're advantageous. And I remember when we first put these out, I was like, why are they doing this? No sports books allow this, but here we are. There
was one that I worked for at one time that did, but I think ours were much better and have a better name. That's just my personal opinion. So, Kelly, you leaned under in the game tonight. Last time this happened, by the way, where you leaned under and I had a parlay plus, it hit. Yay! I also leaned under on Thursday night, so let's forget that. But yes, last Monday I did lean towards the under, and you hit your parlay plus, and I hit the under. So let's hope it goes back to last Monday. I just want to go ahead. Whoever does have my voodoo doll and is sticking me in my pockets, you can take the pins out. We're good. I'm
No, Megan, this is what we're going to do. So text your friend that you were texting earlier because you can't buy it for yourself. Have your friend go get you some sage, pull a Kyrie Irving, go sage your house. If you don't think I have not saged my house in the middle of a goddamn golf tournament before, you are wrong. Shout out to Max Homa. Thank you for that one. But that being said, I have done it and I do not care. People used to say, oh, you're superstitious. And I'd be like, no, I definitely am. The more I realize it, I'm like, nope. Leaving the group chat, moving off this couch, going to a different bar. I don't care what it is. I'm sitting here all day long and not moving. That's what me and Coco did yesterday. We did not move our asses from the couch because things were going exactly our way. Sorry, you got to go outside, dog. You're just going to have to wait.
You're just going to have to go on the pee pad. Just relax. Okay, so again, I have a correlated parlay plus over at the Barstool Sportsbook. And remember, you can move the stool. And if you're in the comments being an absolute hater, guess what? You can be a fader. And if that's the case, you can take Big Ben over 250 yards. You can take Justin Fields under 38.5 rushing yards. You can take the over 47.5, and you can take the Steelers minus 14.5. If you want to fade, those are your fades from me of the day. Kelly's on the under. I wouldn't fade her. She had a personal assistant. So
I did not have a personal assistant. I had an intern that literally edited a podcast. I can't with you.
All right, y'all have a wonderful Monday. It's going to be way better than the weekend was. I'm going to pretend like it didn't happen and move on with my life. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being so nice to Kelly and I, as always. Okay, for not reading your comments. Have a great day.